Here we are. Here we are back again for another week of the next speaker for Kept Woman of God, Gracefully Unbroken. This conference, I can't tell you the speakers you've already met, the ones you are about to meet. This is going to be the place to be April 8th and 9th. I'm so thankful. Shout out to Rochinda Pickens, Chinda and Friends, the founder of Kept Woman of God, and just having the opportunity to introduce to you the speakers and show you who is gonna be in the building. So let me introduce to you today, Taralyn Michelle.
Hello.
Isn't she a beauty, y'all? Do y'all see them sister locks? Oh, wait.
It's Lock Nation because you're over there looking fire, honey. Fire.
Thanks, baby. I try. So talk to me, Taralyn Michelle. You are a force to be reckoned with. I am so thankful to have you here on this interview today. So talk to me about you. Tell everybody who you are. Introduce yourself for those that may or may not know you.
Absolutely. Well, I am Taralyn Michelle. I'm a certified spiritual mindset and wellness coach, CEO of Divine Design Media, LLC, and also a podcaster. And so Divine Design Media, LLC is all about putting out different forms of media that glorify God and glorify how beautiful we are as being creations of His. And so it's an honor to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yo, y'all, do you hear that voice? It's butter. It's butter. Do you hear? It is butter. She is everything. So, Taralyn, talk to us about your podcast, because I got a chance to listen to it, and which it's fire. Everybody, you need to make sure. I'm gonna make sure she gives you how to access it before we leave today. But it's fire. It's fire. The grind.
Define.
The grind defined, y'all.
Yes.
The grind defined. Okay, talk to us about the grind defined.
The grind defined. My tagline is always define your grind and never let the grind define you. And that's because life is a grind. We all have different spaces and places that we're in within our life. It could be with money, kids, identity, whatever it may be. But the grind defined is all about offering a place for us to discuss real life issues and put those into a spiritual context that is real, that's practically applicable to where we are today. And so when you tune into the grind defined, it's not just about conversation that I'll have or different thought processes that I'll lead with. I also have guests, and it has a very melodic, urban hip hop R&B kind of feel to it. So it's not just about talking like a lot of podcasts. It's a whole experience that you can have no matter where you are and doing what you're doing. So I'm really proud of it. The feedback has been great. We just launched September 10th of last year, and it's been taken off from there. So God has been good.
That's awesome. I'm telling y'all, the grind defines. Did you hear what she said? Always. No, did y'all hear her?
Always define your grind and never let the grind define you.
Never. That's like work the field. Don't let the field work you, y'all. I'm trying to tell you.
Exactly, sis. I love it.
Ladies, we have Taralyn Michelle, and she will be one of your speakers at the Kept Woman of God conference taking place April 8th and 9th. So you don't want to miss it. The staff and the board of Kept Woman of God has made sure to give you a couple of options. You can either attend in person, and Taralyn, tell them it's going to be sold out. So you need to get your tickets ASAP. Okay, so you're going to go to www.keptwomanofgod.com. If you want to attend virtually, get your ticket. I'm telling you, ladies, have a party. Invite your closest friends. Invite your Bible study group. Invite your sister group. Invite your sisters.
There you go. And if you're going to invite people over, it's always better with community. Kept Woman of God is all about community. Chinda and Friends is all about community. Bring your wine. Yes, have wine. Get filled with the Spirit and enjoy what's going on.
And don't send me no invite for a party unless you got snacks. You know what I'm saying? Unless you got cocktails. I mean, I'm
there you
coming. Go. Okay. So we are excited. Tell me a little bit about how you got connected with Chinda and Friends and Kept Woman of God.
Actually, Rochinda and we met as members of an elite shopping group, right? Yeah, I know. Some years ago, we met in this group, and Rochinda, for those of you who do not know her, and for those of you who do know her, you know that she has a magnetic personality. We ended up, talking on some different threads within Facebook and that type of thing. And then it went from that to us having a connection as sisters. We started to talk offline and our friendship just built from there. And so, so over the years, Rochinda, she's so very wise. She's been she's a mentor of mine. She actually is my mentor. And so I've just grown so much in being around her. And I was one of those people, the Grind Defined, my platform. I can speak to what it's like to be someone who isolates yourself. And I really was not comfortable. I was very guarded around people, but it was something different about her. And I learned just from being around her that it wasn't about the people, it was about me. And so just her allowing me into different spaces with her, I learned a lot and was able to open up and discovered a completely and totally different side of me that had just been hidden from me. Getting connected with and getting to know her. And so it just kind of went from there. I met Chinda, and within probably about a year and a half, I ended up writing a book, leaving corporate America. I own a business, and the rest is history. This is what I do. I help people to navigate the same things that I've been navigating. So anyway, that's Shopping Girl. That's how we met.
Wait a minute, you like to spend money, girl? Spend money? I want to be your bestie, girl. You got some stuff in your closet I can,
girl. Listen, my closet has nothing on Chinda. She got like a whole room that's a closet, for real.
I'm telling y'all, I'm raiding all y'all closets so I can get right for Kept Woman of God. I'm gonna be in there like, ooh, this look good.
Listen, you have no problems from what I see with looking fly, so don't even play.
Hey, that is good. I am a kept woman of God.
Indeed.
So I think that's cool because one thing that I'm getting from all of the speakers so far that we've talked to is it is a sense of community. It is a sense of taking you from where you're at when you come into the fold of Kept Woman of God or Chinda and Friends, however you enter, it takes you from that point to push you closer to your dreams.
Absolutely. Put you closer to your dreams and put you closer to sisters who share one common thread, and that is wanting to be the best versions of ourselves. Now that takes different forms because different people have different goals and different things that they want to do. But I had never before this experience becoming acquainted with her been in a situation with women where there's zero competition. There's none of that. There's zero no side eye when you come in the room, and none of that stuff. And it was really kind of strange because if you know Chinda, she's not like that. As women, we tend to be on guard because at some point in time, it's gonna come.
She ain't looking at me crazy.
Or a little side comment, you got to figure, was she trying to none of that. And so to be in a community where everybody just truly wants to see each other win, for me, that was huge because I was always that woman who would say, well, I don't really have female friends like that. Well, I can say honestly now that I do. And even if they're not quote unquote friends, some are acquaintances, some are friends, some relationships will just bond and they'll be closer than others. But I have tons of resources and sisters, whether we talk every day or we talk a couple of times a week or maybe even a few months apart. I have people that I can go to and people that can come to me because the commonality that we have is Kept Woman of God and that community that's going so far outside of that, because started off Kept Woman of God, now Chind and Friends, now on to what everyone else is doing, and we all support each other. So it's great.
And there is a community that is bubbling out there. I will tell you, to be a part of this type of culture, it is a culture, right? It's a culture because there's an understanding there that I love you, you love me. I'm not hating on you, you ain't hating on me. And so, for those that are really contemplating about whether this conference is something that you want to be a part of or something that you should attend, I think because of the commonality, okay, of what we deal with each other, okay, I'm putting me in that box too, know. The complications that we deal with each other, the situations we bring about with each other, those are some of those things that further dig, further break us, further cause damage. And these are the things that gracefully Unbroken will be, basically talking about. These are the type of things that we'll be mending in this conference. So please make sure you get your tickets. So, Taralyn, you are so insightful and so dynamic with the words that are coming out of your mouth. Okay. Tell us, what does Gracefully Unbroken mean to you?
Gracefully Unbroken means to me that you're bound by nothing. Just because you have some chips or some cracks or anything, it really doesn't matter. You may have some scarring. You may have some wounds that are still healing. You may have had your wounds already healed, but every now and then you could be in a space where you're triggered. Gracefully Unbroken means to me that no matter what happens, God is giving you grace. And now it's time for us to give that to ourselves, because I know that was something that I struggled with. God had long since forgiven me, but I hadn't forgiven myself. That negative reel that replays over and over again, reminding you of all of those embarrassing times, those hurtful times, those times you called yourself stupid because you should have known, or maybe you should have said, or you should have done. That's what it means to be gracefully unbroken. It means to understand that charity with oneself begins inside yourself. It has to start with you. And so a lot of the time,
no. Back that up. See, you dropping dimes. I'm over here taking notes. Charity begins with you.
It begins within you. We're always looking. Here's the thing. I'll say this as a servant. Being a servant was a hiding place for me for many years, and I didn't know it. I was kind of like the Farnsworth Bentley of my own life. I'm cheering other people on and puffing them up and, do right. I've been around the whole thing, right? So I'm doing that for other people. And truth be told is I would give to people what I didn't feel like I deserved and what I didn't feel like God necessarily wanted for me. I believed in him for other people, but I didn't believe in him for me. And so the way that I could not hold myself accountable was to say, well, and this is because of fear, to say, well, I'm helping other people. I'm just going to help them. And then maybe eventually I'll just pray and God will get to me. That was my way of checking out and not actually putting in the work. But see what happened. Look at here.
I'm gonna need y'all, all of y'all be coming down my lane now. I'm gonna need y'all to stay off of Jeanette Elkins' lane, okay?
And you know why, sis? Because this stuff, the enemy is clever. And I'll get back on my point in a minute, but I have to say this. The enemy is clever because if the enemy can convince us that it's a Jeanette condition, that it's a Taralyn condition, then that makes us want to hide, and people don't need to know our business, and they don't need to see me looking like this and looking like that. But when we understand that this is a human condition, it's not specific to the individual. This is about souls being elevated. And how can you be refined if you haven't been completely and totally down in the gut and low? You can't have one without the other. You can't win a championship unless you done lost a lot of games.
Ma'am.
You know what I'm saying?
Ma'am. Taralyn Michelle. I need you to stop dropping the mic up in here, okay? What?
I'm just saying. So So back to what I was saying, what I was talking about, this journey and me using service, a lot of us do, to hide. We think it's enough to just do things for other people. Yes, God wants us to be in service, but he wants the charity of giving to start with us, to give ourselves forgiveness, to give ourselves grace, to give ourselves a pass. Because if you can't do it for you, then it's only so long before you're going to be able to do it for other people. And you're not going to be able to stay in connection with him. Because if his glory doesn't apply to you first, then you become depleted. Eventually, you start to unplug. Eventually, you start to isolate. Eventually, you start to judge the negative self-talk. You can't stay connected to him for anybody else if you can't find a connection to him for you. So charity has to begin with us first. And that's the real work. That's the hard part. It's easy for us to go out and help other people and see the beauty in them with God that we can't see for ourselves in God. That's easy. God wants us to take a pause and to do what it takes for us to start to see that with us because of him first. And only when you do that can you truly be of service to someone else, because you can support them in the way that they need. And that's what that testimony is, because you've actually gone through that space. How much can I really guide someone if I won't allow myself to touch what's afflicting them with me? You know, so it just all starts with us. And I just thank God that listen, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying I got it all figured out, because I do not. I don't. Disclaimer. Right. However, I have had a journey as to where there are some things that I've learned. There's some knowledge that I've acquired and some things that I can share as I continue to allow myself to go deeper in God. And I just want every other woman to know that we are gracefully unbroken, meaning that no matter what we've been through, if we allow ourselves to give ourselves some grace, God's already given it to us. We can just come and fill that gap and meet him by giving it to ourselves. So that's what that means to me. The short of
it. I love it. I love it all. The long, the short, the thick, the skinny of it. I love it all. So, you know, well, God, the title, Gracefully Unbroken, as you said, would suggest that there has to be something that has taken place to break you. Okay. And that grace that you speak of, a lot of times we can't find it because we don't look at ourselves. We're so busy deflecting. We're so busy, like you said, taking care of everybody else. And I did that for years as a mom. You know, I'm gonna take care of the kids. I'm gonna take care of the kids. I can come later. I can come later. You know, even if my whole life was crumbling around me, no, I gotta be strong. I don't have time to break down. I can't cry. I can't grieve. I can't do nothing because I have to be strong for everybody else, you know. And I think the moment, hey God, the moment that you get to sit down and be real with yourself.
Amen.
Right? Stop fooling yourself.
Yes.
Okay. And understand where you're at. It's okay to be in a place. It's okay to be in a place where you're broken. It's okay to understand that this is not a good time for me. But that's where God comes in. That's where that kept woman of God comes in, because even in your brokenness, God can use you, right? Even in your brokenness, God creates a masterpiece, and he will use everything that you've been through, all the little pieces, to make a beautiful piece of art. So Amen. I encourage you, my sisters, to come out. And I encourage you to show yourself, as Taralyn Michelle has said, some grace. Okay. Love on yourself and get to this conference by any means necessary. Amen.
Amen.
So Taralyn, certified spiritual mindset coach.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The voice that's like butter, the podcast extraordinaire. What do you hope ladies will take away from this year's Kept Woman of God Women's Conference, Gracefully Unbroken?
I hope that they take from this that it is time to come out of the shadows. It is time to stop giving excuses about why you can't, why you shouldn't, why you don't think, what you don't have. Let me tell you something. If you show up, there is somebody, I guarantee you, hear it here. They don't give you guarantees nowadays. I'm going to give you one. I'm going to
wait. GB Hot 97 disclaimer.
Right.
We do not confirm or deny the views of Taralyn Michelle on the station. Okay, you back.
Now you can do it. But I'm going to guarantee that if you show up there, you are going to find at least one sister that you will connect with and can stay connected with. I don't care where she's from, what state she's in. If you show up and check everything else at the door and just be in the moment, you will find at least one sister. And I know you'll find at least one because I'll be there. So there you go.
Hey, now.
So you will have, there you go. You will have at least one that you can connect with to start your journey wherever you are in life, beyond where you are. And I also want to throw this out there too. I want to shed a little bit of truth about fear, because a lot of people may come to things skeptical about how their personal situation, how they're going to fit into something, and whether or not they could be changed for them. That's a trick of the enemy. I have an acronym for fear. That's falsehoods, emphasized and amplified by regret. All right. Falsehoods, emphasized and amplified by regret. Anything that you fear, ladies, it is not true. Inexperience is not who we are. It's just that it's an experience. And if you take on the fact that you've had an experience and make that, if I say that because I did this particular thing, and let's full disclaimer, let's say you knew it was wrong when you did it, but now you tag to your soul that that's who you are instead of something that you did. That is false. And then that becomes emphasized when you think about it over and over again. And now you want to replace something that is now the past that you cannot change. So you make it so that it's something that's prominent in your life, and then you amplify it, because as you continue to do that, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, because now you have all the solutions for something that was 10 years ago. And then now you have regret about it. So the falsehoods emphasized and amplified by your regrets can keep you from moving forward into today and beyond, which actually is where you can start to make the promise of changes for yourself. So don't let fear hold you back. Get on out here and come and see us.
Come on. And don't let the fear of COVID, stop you, because there is a virtual option. And I would like to say that even if you attend the virtual version of the conference, there is a live chat going the whole event. So there will be somebody manning the chat. So you will also connect there as well. So don't let fear stop you. Don't let being broken be a reason. Okay. Don't let what people might say, think, do. Don't let it stop you. Get to this conference by any means necessary. Taralyn Michelle, it has been an absolute treat to have you in the studio. Thank you so very much for your time. We can't wait. I can't wait. I will be front row. I'm going to be like this.
I cannot wait to meet you. I'm going to be looking for those gorgeous locks. Thank you so much for having me here. It's been an absolute pleasure. I heard you were a beast at what you do. So it's great to experience it in person.
Well, thank you, love. And I love that you said that, because that means everything. So you all, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for learning more about who's going to be in the room for Kept Woman of God Women's Conference, April 8th and 9th. This will be a 2-day event with vendors. They're providing lunch for the in-person. Man, crazy. I think Estelle Brooks said it's going to be lit. Okay. Yes. It's going to be lit.
Yes.
So get your tickets, www.keptwomanofgod.com. Virtual, in-person tickets are $75. Like I said, get your crew. Don't forget your Kept Woman of God t-shirts. Okay, they are
Yes.
fire. So the sooner you register, then you can qualify to get a t-shirt. So go ahead and do that. Virtual. I'm sorry, you got to get those separate. You got to get those separate. Okay, but there is a link for you to get a t-shirt. If you have an e-party, everybody needs a t-shirt. We doing everything in uniform. Okay, everything in uniform. So we're excited. Can't wait. Stay tuned so that you can learn more about the Kept Woman of God Conference. It's your girl, Danette Elkins, a.k.a. the Lioness, right here on GV Hot 97. God bless. Say bye, Taralyn.
Bye.